Jerome, thanks for coming through. Really appreciate your time. It's a weekend and we're here, and we're very, very interested to hear about your story. I've heard a few points while we were chatting off screen, and your story is just fascinating. I really am interested to dig into it. I obviously want to hear it from you though, and I told you that we like to be as natural as possible. I'm not going to be reading from a set of questions, so you decide what you'd like to tell us, and then I'll just jump in where it makes sense. But obviously remarkable stories, and I think something that will benefit guests or people listening to our podcast, watching any of our TikToks. I think it will benefit them. So please go for it. Tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Jerome. Nice to be here. It's an honor. I'm a worldwide weight loss coach, and I help tailor diet plans and provide mental and mind power coaching to people worldwide. I think with your question, what do people want to hear? They don't want to see the glory and the fame and whatever I've done and where I'm now. People like to hear the humble beginnings from when it started, the real Jerome.
Where Jerome came from.
Yes, where I came from. And a lot of people don't divulge that kind of information.
Sure.
It could be seen as embarrassing, or some people are not so transparent.
Yeah.
And I think I would like to talk about how my addiction played a part in this journey to get me where I am, from having my own business to coming from absolutely nothing, unemployed, self-made, and my struggles with schooling, studies, and all this was impacted from trying to do life while being an addict. And also the greatest journey and blessing to me right now that has motivated me in a new way besides my business is my beautiful wife, loving wife, and my baby girl, which I stopped bodybuilding in 2022. I said I'd never stop bodybuilding, never, not for anyone. But this woman made me do a lot of things that
Your little one.
My wife, and little one, that I thought that I'd never do, but I've had a whole new outlook on life when I met this woman. And I stopped bodybuilding for a year. I was able to have my baby girl, and that's become a new motivation, challenge to me, and a new drive rather than only striving for business, success, sobriety.
Yes.
And that's what I'd like to talk about here.
And I think only parents, I'll speak as a dad with a daughter as well, will only understand when you're in that moment that your little one can make you do things that you never thought you would.
Absolutely.
And it's the most beautiful blessing for me. I feel that if there is a divine power, whatever you ascribe to, that is the epitome of that divine power. That relationship you have with your little one.
I agree. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% perfect in every way. I have my character flaws and defects. And during the first stages and beginning of our marriage, there was a lot of complications. Family related, politics. I'm Catholic. I was born in a Catholic family, raised in a Catholic family. My wife is full gospel. And, in the Catholic Church, they won't exactly marry you unless you convert. And I don't think that's a good enough reason for, having my wife to convert. But anyway, I got married in her church, where I found that there's a message there, that I understood it. I believe Jesus is everywhere. But anyway, we know Indian parents, how you get married, and it causes a little bit of conflict, and which caused a little bit of disruption initially. But I've gathered myself, I've learned, I do make mistakes. And with a lot of therapy, counseling, self-work, I'm able to restore a lot of things that I have broken naturally as a human being. And the blessing is my daughter and wife. I never had that family life. I've never ever had that family life. I've never had that, we're going here, we're going to sit at the table, we're going to eat out, we're going to dinner out. In my family, to be honest, we were surrounded mainly by alcohol. I'm not running anybody down or running my family down. I mean, we're provided with education, provided with the necessities that I need. But this was something that was a norm. And not everybody falls into addiction and alcohol. Some people can have 2 beers and they can go and sleep at 11. Not Jerome.
Okay.
I didn't have a stop button.
Right. And I read about this. Malcolm Gladwell talks about it. There's some people who have a personality, some sort of genetic coding in them that will allow them to have the 2, 3, 4, 5 beers, and for 3 months thereafter not even think about it. And then there are those that will try it once or twice, and then suddenly there's an addiction. How much of the family life would you say created that? I don't want to put words into your mouth. I'm channeling from where I'm coming from. A lot of your childhood behavior or your childhood exposure determines your future behavior. It determines your future personality and the way you perceive the world, the way you react, and the way you sort of navigate through different circumstances. And I really don't want to put words into your mouth, but something you touched on, your past sort of fed into,
correct,
the struggles that you had, your addiction.
This is all I knew, You're suffering with loneliness, you're suffering with abandonment issues, childhood issues, whatever. My coping mechanism was, hey, there's nothing to do, I have no one. Let me open a bottle. I don't even need company. And this helped me deal with pain. It helped me numb my emotions. Us as men, we're not used to expressing, and I was not used to expressing emotions for a very long time. I suppressed it and harbored it. I think most men have a problem with doing that because it's considered weak, showing weakness. But so we numb it and we suppress it with alcohol, and this kind of was my go-to. I felt great. I didn't have to deal with this problem. I didn't have to deal with being lonely or having nobody to spend the weekend with, or no family inviting me over, or no company. And part of my character flaws is codependency. I always needed somebody around. I always needed to have somebody with me. And if nobody was there, I'd pick up a drink. And I was one of those people. If you take 10 people, you can introduce them to alcohol. 3 of them will be like, okay, this is nice, it's okay, done. 3 of them will be like, not for me. And the rest of them, or just 2 of them, will be like, this is amazing. I'm never going to stop. I want to do this all the time. That was me.
Okay. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Or maybe fortunately, because it shaped your journey.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't go through this, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right. Okay. Now, something you touched on about men always feeling that they have to have this facade. We have to be strong. We have to be the tough guys. Something that maybe you learn as you get older, and it would be great if the youngsters picked it up early. And if dads and moms taught their sons specifically that it's okay to have emotions. It's actually perfectly healthy to express those emotions. It's something that I picked up a lot on, is that everyone had this, especially I'll speak as an Indian guy because that's what I know. But Indian men, I would say to a large extent also, our black brothers as well, the Zulu men as well, we taught that we have to be aggressive. If you're not aggressive, you can't get anything done.
Absolutely.
You'll go nowhere in life, nothing will work for you. And unfortunately, that always channels into us becoming really, really angry and behaving in a way that's just despicable, in my opinion.
People believe that you have to assert power by talking like this. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. That's
and overpowering each other.
And overpowering, talking over. Let me tell you, what? Listen there, lady. That is the kind of norm about expressing your power and who you are as a person. Emotions were like, hey, shut up about it. Hey, get over it. Get over it. What's wrong with you? Get over it. This is how we raise most of us. And it affects us in relationships because
Absolutely.
Women are emotional beings. And now we can't communicate their language because we're harboring this. Well, I'm talking about myself now.
Yeah.
I'm harboring this, I'm harboring my fears, I'm harboring because I don't want to come across as a weak character. And this causes a barrier because it shows women, or they perceive it as, he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. And yeah.
And I think also with, something you said, you were codependent. I don't think that's a character flaw, my personal opinion.
It can be.
Look, I feel like, yes, if you don't understand it and it becomes something where, listen, I constantly need this, otherwise I've got to turn to, a substance.
It's like some men that can never leave their mummies. Hey, the mum does this, the mum does that, and it affects some people in relationships. The mum is bringing you a hot plate of food, it's coming. Sometimes I walked into my friend's house and I was like, wow, That's why you've gained weight. Your mother makes a hot curry for lunch and she's got the juice and ice there. And people say, how do you know how to cook, Jerome? I was never allowed to be dished up food. Only time I was allowed to eat what, my mother asked me, what would you like to eat, was on my birthday. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing because it taught me as a bodybuilder, I'm hungry all the time. I learned how to cook and I think I cook very well. I've been told I cook very well. My wife loves my food. Yeah, you learn how to cook very well. And I think that's a skill that a lot of men lack because you think, my mother did it, so you must do it now. Not to say that women don't have their responsibilities and duties, but like being codependent with somebody can be, some men don't want to leave their mothers alone. Or they don't want to leave, some females don't want to let go of searching for dads in their men, and it can be toxic sometimes.
Look, I think that in that way, absolutely, that's toxic, being dependent on a person. But all of us need company. And I think something that we shy away from is that responsibility that we have to be, decent human beings. Oftentimes, people will chat with me and, talk to me, and they always feel embarrassed to say, I just wanted to say, like, I really enjoyed A, B, and C, and it was nice. And, I always say, listen, there's nothing wrong in that. If you want to talk to someone, go up and say, hey, Jerome, how's it? How are you? Cool. I loved I love some of the stuff that you were doing. I just wanted to say hi. Wish you all the best. Enjoy your afternoon. Enjoy your evening with your family. There's nothing wrong in that. But society has created this perception that there's some people you can't talk to. Like if someone is overly successful, or if someone is, overly unsuccessful, if they are humble, if they are, what we used to call pariahs or pariahs, there's some people in society that do not deserve our attention, do not deserve company. And I feel that there's so much that you miss out.
Definitely, you meet so many people. You know what, this is such an important topic because, I also always used to tell my wife, why do you smile? She used to ask me, why do you smile when you go? People, you came to me first and said, you know what, you look so aggressive, intimidating. We wanted to actually speak to you about weight loss, but,
we're put off.
Yeah, and people think, and I'm like, when they meet me, like, he's
such a nice guy.
He's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Then I started saying, hey, Jerome, man, take these people advice. I believe that a person that is not teachable can't grow. So then I went out, I'm like, people, hey, do you remember me? I'm one of your clients. You got a profile picture of flowers.
How must I do?
How am I supposed to know what you look like? But I'm like, oh, great to meet you. I love meeting my clients. And people know it's Soul Fitness. Some people, they look at me and they'll give me a smile. And I can see all of them turning on. And some people, hi, Jerome, Soul Fitness. I believe that now it's very important to be approachable.
100%.
And people say, oh, you did this. Hey, I was taking a taxi. Right. I was a failure. It took me 10 years to pass a degree. I had 2 pairs of shoes. I come from nothing. I don't think that I'm high and mighty and above everybody. I'm worse than anybody. I'm the last person to judge.
Keep your humility.
Absolutely.
Well done.
I came from nothing.
I think what you talk about, Jerome, is so crucial because people, I think our youth especially, they've bought into this
social media, TikTok.
Yeah, social media, TikTok, influencer type of mentality where you have to be polished, you have to be perfect, you have to be a snob, you have to be unapproachable, you have to maintain your power by being higher than everyone else.
Yes.
And maybe it might work for some people, and perhaps it has worked for many people. I just feel that we've lost some of our humanity in that approach to life.
It's the new generation. I think now success is making some videos of you dancing on TikTok or becoming famous on TikTok. But the truth of the reality is, those are not going to pay your bills.
Yeah. You see, you and I come from that life where you must pay your bills at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're going to pay your bills. And I know the youth of today is in big trouble. I employ a lot of influencers. And people start getting popular on social media and think, they've got this air about themselves.
Nose in the air.
Look, sure.
There's a place for it, Jerome.
There's a place for it, but the society is in trouble because people believe that success or growing in life is becoming or having a following on TikTok or Instagram.
Sure.
Now, I like to also talk about a lot of things. Your following can either make you or break you. It's called customer acquisition. Is your following you based on your free entertainment, or is your following purchase something or purchasing something or interested in a product or service that you're offering. There is a huge difference.
Right.
So like a lot of these influencers need to learn that China made these algorithms for TikTok in their country for success, children growing, achieving in sports and excelling. The algorithms the rest of the world are pranks and dancing. I think it's a perfect strategy to dumb everyone down. This is my opinion, but like I think that our new generation is in big trouble.
You know, every generation, I feel like we are old men now because every generation was in big trouble according to our fathers. You think about that, right? Your parents would have said, look at the generation today, they don't know how to work, they don't know how to talk to people, they don't know how to go out there and make it on their own. You know, that's
It's getting progressively worse. They're not wrong, but I think it's getting progressively worse. There's already a problem with employment now. There's a problem with employment, and that means I'd like to tell young people that this is a time to start businesses.
Yeah.
This is your time.
If you want to be successful, wealthy, and if success, is measured according to financial acquisition or financial gain, absolutely, a business is probably the best way.
Yeah, success is not financial. And success can be different to every individual. Success for me is family, unity, that bond. That you can't buy.
You can't. But you need money to have it.
Absolutely. You need money. Money makes the world go round. And something like, people are young and they want to explore life, and there's something everybody knows. Money you can make, but time you can't buy back.
Absolutely.
And in your youth, you need to start the foundation of what way you see yourself. But as men, we only learn who we are when we're like 32, 35. In my 26, I was the most immature guy. I had a fighting addiction, still trying to study. Quantity survey, construction management, studied for 10 years to pass. I studied nutrition, fitness, training, coaching. And this was very difficult because I had this problem, you know. It's like a rope holding you back. You're trying to do everything that normal people do. I just wanted to say, you know what, guys, I got a job like you. I have a car, I stay in an apartment, and I've got a job. I sleep on Friday night, and I wake up on Monday morning, and I'm getting ready for work. Not that I've started on Thursday and I'm on a bender, and Monday I'm still carrying on. And this held me back for a long time. That's why I'm talking about the time structure, you know, that I was too immature to see.
Yeah.
And it's so important for the youth to see now, your foundation of your business starts in your 20s, and it's going to make you who you are in your 30s and 40s.
I think a lot of what we miss, and men, women, as a whole, society as a whole, our education, not just your formal education, your social education, basic things, you know, etiquette in public. It doesn't happen. No. We don't know simple things. We don't know that it's, you know, it's, even though it costs you nothing, to take a piece of paper and throw it in the bin is far better than throwing it out the window. You know, and I see day in and day out, especially in KZN, I see it in Gauteng, I see it in Western Cape. There is a sect, I don't want to say class because it sounds like I'm being elitist, but there's a sect of people's mentality that allows them to behave in a way that societally is not conducive for you know, happiness and for fluidity amongst your peers.
I feel that happens so much in business because, you know, from being a waiter when I was a very young age, 15, 16, I begged for a job when I was 15 to be a waiter at Spur, and we learned how it's so important to say, hi ma'am, good morning ma'am, good evening ma'am, you know, can I have seat you ma'am? Yes sir, not guys, hi everyone, it's good afternoon ma'am, good evening ma'am, can I please seat you, table for 3, whatever. So many people and businesses, you phone them, what kind bro? Yeah, okay, call me in 15 minutes. Already you've lost me.
Disrespectful, yeah.
I don't think it's disrespectful for him, that's the way he talks.
Right.
Or people will be like, hey, how's it Jerome? What kind bro? Yeah, check it, I need to lose weight. Now, if I wanted to get involved in your business, what's the first thing you think I think about you? You're not professional.
Not professional.
100%. Yeah. Now, these are small things. The ums and ahs in a sale that you were talking about earlier. If you're selling something, people are buying you. Does this guy look like he's a lighty running a business, or he looks like he's been doing this a while and he's running a professional business? Does it look like I can ask him, hey, how's a better price there, bro? Since we bros, what kind, bro? How's a better price? Or, hi, ladies and gentlemen, hi, sir. I'd like to tell you about our business. Usually when you have all these ticks, these etiquette, like you said, people don't take advantage of your service.
Yeah.
And
they understand the value.
Going back to the point, it's lost. It's very lost.
And I think, that's a duty we have, each and every one of us. It's a duty we have in society to actually ensure we continuously push that message. There was a time where our forefathers had to fight. I speak our forefathers now. They had to fight to have a structure for educating their children, to have a structure for providing religious enrichment in people's lives, etc. They had to fight for that, and with their pittance and wages, they still managed to do it.
Exactly.
You and I now, we in a time and a place in our lives where we can afford certain things, and yet we've sort of, and I speak for us openly, right? I'm not saying specifically Jerome, specifically Theo, but we've sort of gotten into our little roots where I'm doing all right, so let me just take care of my thing and not worry about what's happening outside. And we've lost that ability to actually bring our society within, or to the level that we can influence, to actually say, listen, hold on, guys, what about this? Think about that. Don't just focus on what's happening on TikTok. Yes, the Mr. Beast or whatever his name is can do all these weird things on YouTube, and he's one of the highest paid influencers, artists, etc. But does it make sense for you now? Do you have to go around, breaking your father's car, his hard-earned possessions, etc.? Why can't we be different?
Am I right? What the point is you're getting at is we're not giving back enough.
I feel like we're giving back, but we're not giving back in the right way.
Yes. Let's ask people, from all the money, all the success you made, how have you given back to the community? This is a very tricky subject because, people can love you for doing this or hate you. I'll make my point now. A mentor of mine, before I started business, he always showed me, hey, Jerome, it's so important to give back and you should feed the poor and stuff. And I realized when we give back, not giving back for that blessing, it starts becoming addictive. But a lot of people today are so selfish, they don't have any sympathy for anybody else but themselves. My first salary that I made from my business was 13,000 Rand from when I started Soul Fitness. The first thing I did was I bought 120 veg biryanis and I went to the beach and I fed them. And after that, I got into a habit of constantly feeding. But I'm not saying this now because I think, hey, I want people to think that I'm royalty and everything, but this is something that I noticed that very few people do. Either they'll see you do it and say, oh, I feed people, but I don't post it on social media, I don't feed my ego. So whether you do it on social media or no, don't do it, it's like it's either a good thing, you cursed for it, or you're like a messiah. You know what I'm saying? What do you do? The reason why I share on some of it on social media is I'm trying to share with other human beings that get involved in doing something like this, because this will either encourage other business people to, hey, Jerome, where's that children's home you fed? What are you giving back as a person? You got all this money, but you're a selfish human being. Most people are extremely selfish. They give back nothing. I've noticed this in society. And we're from a generation now where people, like you said, their success and they forgot about everybody else besides their own family. I've learned something that once you start giving in and having sympathy for other people, because I was in that place when I had nothing. And I used to think, hey, but these guys got so much money. I wish somebody would give me maybe a handout for to help me. Or, it shouldn't be so much money for not one person to give me a cent. Or even if they did, they'll give me 200 ideas, Jerome asked me for money. It's terrible, terrible. It was embarrassing, it was humiliating. And, it's so strange how right now, I think that the only people right now want to know me is, especially close people, is based on what I can do for them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hurtful in a way, because I always thought that, people, hey, maybe if you get successful, they like you more and respect you.
Something you said, you've got this notion that when you are successful, you shouldn't be selfish. And I know you said it just now. My opinion is that
not even when you're successful, even if with the bare minimum, You should give back. Not asking people to support your little NPO that you've got going on and using it. Take your own salary, take your money, do something.
Do something.
You go and buy 2 Vienna packets of Viennas. What is it? 30, that's 60. Or I don't know how much it comes, 30, right? Go buy rolls. The price of this will cost you about 300 rand. You can feed 100 people, almost, right? 30,
60.
It's less than, 60. You can buy those little Siri juices, those cheap juices, and you can buy those little plastic containers or packets. You can feed 100 people. Most people can afford it.
Yeah.
It's about giving back. But don't do it because you think that, you're going to get something back for it.
Yeah.
Do it because you're going to learn how it feels inside. It makes you feel good, man. It makes you feel good. A lot of people don't see that.
I think, you know what you're saying, besides feeding. Like feeding, look...
So one example.
One example. But
Spending time with kids or doing something,
I think Jerome has gone through a life that...
Selfish life.
No, forget that. But you've learned so much. Old people... I love old people. I like spending time with old people because I learn from them.
Yeah.
And, I've been lucky. I've got a lot of older, successful friends. And you pick up common threads.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know from Jerome, what was it, Jerome? Because the scariest thing for me, and I'll be honest with you, I'm 40 now, but when I was younger, the scariest thing for me was addiction.
Yeah.
So I stay away from 4 things, and habitually. And I tell my daughter as well, these are the 4 things: gambling, drugs,
smoking,
alcohol, and smoking. I said, some are worse than, of the 4, some are worse than the others, but
correct.
Eventually all of them will take you down in life.
You're 100% in bringing your children up like that. I don't want my daughter to ever see or be around any drinking, smoking, even if it's from me or anything, if I make any mistakes in my life, in my sobriety, at the end of the day, we always will be recovering addicts.
Right.
You're never cured, you're never a recovered addict.
Sure.
But my addiction and why I'm talking about this is I was the most selfish individual that I knew. I couldn't have money in my hand without reaching for something or thinking, and I thought, I said, Jerome, who do you support? Nobody. I was like, why do I do this? Well, I don't have a family, I don't have children, I don't pay rent, I stayed with my parents then. I gave back to nobody, absolutely nobody. If I had some money, I'd go drink by myself. People paid for my drinks. I used a lot of people for going out and drinking. I was selfish. And when you start recovering, your mind changes. You're able to deal with your emotions, realize, this is me. I'm such a selfish person. Some people take me out and they take me out to drinks and I keep all my money and I use it on myself. I don't pay rent. I have no responsibilities. I help nobody. If I died tomorrow, nobody really care.
No one care.
Yeah.
The reflection part is good.
That was a hard pill to swallow, and that's when I said, hey, Jerome, I'm not trying to make up for my mistakes. I can never change that. But it's made me discover who I really am. Are you really a selfish person? You weren't. The addiction made you a selfish person.
Okay. Yeah, so Jerome, listen, I think where we are, and I love your message, I think where we are is that it would be great for the youth, for younger people, actually for anyone aspiring to just be better. You have to be better than you were yesterday. That's important.
Amen to that.
And the way to do it is, you can go the hard knocks route. You can go, learn the hard way from all your own failures, your own struggles. Or you can learn through other people's struggles, their shortcomings, their failures, and what they've learned from it. So you learn by negative inference. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but that's what I call it. If I see that Jerome's gone through this tough life, and that's what I did. When I was young, I saw people in my own family as well, suffered with alcoholism, suffered with drugs, suffered with gambling. Smoking was like just a norm. Those are the things, and I said, listen, I don't want that life. And purposefully, I sort of conditioned myself to hyper-focus on the negativity of those actions. And I'm happy to say that those things never, ever became something I wanted. To the extent where, I was fine with being in and I can still do it. I can be in a group of people who want to drink and smoke and do whatever, but it won't affect me. And I can respect that, you're still a human being at the end of the day. You're still a decent person. Not all addicts are horrible, pathetic human beings. That's not the case. Some are.
Yeah, definitely some are, yeah.
And unfortunately, it brings out the worst in you.
Yeah.
But not all people are just horrific. But my point is that, in that moment, you can learn what's important for you. And I think it would be great for younger people to spend time with Jerome, to spend time with other people who have gone through adversity and have succeeded, and actually learn. Even if Jerome is not purposefully sitting one-on-one with Theo, but Theo can still learn and say, hold on a second, Jerome went through this, what can I learn from that? Giving back was such an important thing because you had empathy for them. You knew where you know where certain people come from. So feeding people, uplifting them is important for you.
Speaking in rehabs, rehabilitation, because in my recovery or in my journey, I was a piece of shit to everybody. Sorry for my language. Yeah.
That's fine.
But everyone,
call a spade a spade.
Yeah, this guy has no job. Nobody got no money. He lives with his parents, and if I could have seen somebody like me sharing a story where he came from nothing and he built this and that from nothing with no help and everything, because where I heard the stories from is from AA meetings. I wanted to go to rehab. I didn't have the means and nobody wanted to put me in rehab. I asked for that. Nobody told me I had a problem. I said, hey, I don't want to be this person. Just like you said, I saw it around me and I didn't want to ever. Now my character flaw is I'm a people's pleaser. I'm very easily influenced. I was always naughty in school. I always chose the wrong things to do. Always got in trouble. Fake IDs, drinking, smoking, fighting, vandalism, creating, It was obviously a cry for help or reaching out. I learned now in my 30s that that's what I was doing. I didn't realize why at the time. And when I first went to AA and I heard these men are sharing, and you very rarely see men openly sharing, especially emotional shares. These people came off the street. Like I came off the street. I'm a multi-millionaire. I've got 2 houses, successful business. I'm like, wow. I wonder if that could ever happen to me. It motivated me. So I'm not a piece of shit. Okay, there is hope for me. I'm not a bad person. Some people, like you said, the drugs made them worse, but you still were always a liar, a cheater, a deceiver, or whatever. The drugs
amplifies who you
It
were.
just amplified who you were. Now, when I stopped, it 360 changed completely. From being somebody I was an isolated drinker, because I'm embarrassed now. People will say, Jerome, you know what you did? So I drank at home alone, closed the doors, nobody could see me, which made things worse. And when I went to AA, I saw all this hope. There's hope. That's why when I want to show people this, there's hope for you. You're not just a drug addict. You're not just an alcoholic. The best salesmen come from addicts. The best gymmers, bodybuilders, and people who are striving for success is addicts, because it was so hard to live life being an addict and try to do normal things. Now, when you don't have that problem, it's just like, whoa, life is easy. Not easy, but there's less of a challenge.
Sort of like training with weights and then having to go to a lower weight thereafter.
Yes.
Easier.
Even training while having an addiction problem. I've been a competitive bodybuilder from 2008. I stopped bodybuilding in 2022 to have a child, like I said. And initially I was training while I still had this drinking problem. Well, I got annihilated every single competition. Well, the first one. And then I realized, Jerome, you can't drink and still do bodybuilding. And after my second competition, I said, hey man, I'm not competing again. I got this t-shirt. They don't pay you money. Like, what's the point? The truth is, it's interfering with my drinking.
Okay.
When I got sober, I said, hey, Jerome, this is who you are. You're a bodybuilder, And I started, achieving so much success in terms of getting my body to where it should have been. But the thing that was holding me back is, Jerome is dieting, he's training, but he's drinking on the weekend. And it's like you're taking 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And this helped me with all this addiction, learning addiction, coping mechanisms, food, gambling, all these addictions, smoking, helped me to discover my business, how I can help people with their food, weight loss, exercise, self-esteem, mental coaching, and their emotions, dealing with their trauma. Because a lot of people that have gained weight have not only gained weight, they've dealt with a lot of trauma and issues relating and their journey, during their journey of gaining weight, they've gone through a lot of trauma, which they need to also still deal with, heal from, and identify, and sometimes use to fuel them during their journey. Like, I used every word. People called me this, people call me that. They called me, people had no respect for me. They called me names. They insulted me. They made me feel low. And I used this all. I used this when I trained. I used this to strive in my business. I used this to outwork everyone. And I smoked a lot of people.
Rocket fuel. I love it. I love it.
Not that smoke, but I smoked them. But a lot of people said, oh, Jerome, when I started, people are negative, man. People laughed at me when I started. Oh, Soul Fitness. Look at this guy with his curries and his diet. Who is this guy? Like a joke. And people laughed. I kept quiet. It was hard to keep quiet. It was hard not to defend my business on social media when people were posting my diet plans there. Then my attorney told me, Jerome, they won't be posting you if you weren't doing something. To climb the ladder of success, you've got to have haters. Yes. Part of the program. You're going to be misunderstood. And I kept quiet. And then people were like, oh, but you got so much competition, eh? Be careful, eh? Be careful, these guys, be careful, that guy. I said, I don't care. I'm an addict. I'm going to beat them all, because I personally believe that my journey has brought me closer to God. I don't believe my business it was made by me. It was founded by God from the blessings of recovery. I don't believe that this was just a coincidence. And I don't need anybody to believe it to me. I can show you the fruits of my labor. But during this journey of healing myself, I'm able to heal people and understand from their point of view. A lot of people that have come to us at Soul Fitness, please have come through a divorce, traumatic history. They've either have, oh, my husband died, my brother died, my mom died, it caused me to gain weight. I'm dealing with this. I went into hospital. I've got people are suffering with a lot of personal issues that has made them gain weight. What my personal issues made me drink. His personal issues made him gamble, whatever. So it helped me identify and be able to help these individuals on their journey.
So everyone that you've dealt with, obviously not everyone, but some people just want to go through it to better themselves. But those that are struggling, I assume you would have encountered a number of people with a lot of trauma. And trauma, from what you're saying, some sort of undealt with trauma is what inspires every one of these addictions.
Correct.
And now you get to this place where you start thinking, now how do we kill the trauma so that it doesn't pass on generation to generation to generation to generation? I've got friends, I've got family, I've got loved ones, all with different or varying degrees of traumatic experiences that are gravitating towards some sort of addiction. Food, like you said, even if it's social media, being addicted to social media because you need constant validation. You need everyone to love you. You need people to see that, hey, you are worthy. And we don't give that enough to each other. And I think there's a duty amongst families, amongst peers, societies, groups, if you're part of a religious affiliation, to focus a little bit more on that. And not just say, listen, we're only here at the end of the day to grow our following, to become famous on whatever platform it is, to get social benefits in terms of financial distributions or financial donations or whatever it is. There's an obligation on Jerome, because Jerome is not going to live forever. There's an obligation on Jerome to give back and make the world a little bit better in his way. And I think we have to each, if we each took that on as a duty, it would be easier then. I mean, Jerome's probably coached about 100, 200, 300 people. You've changed lives, trajectories. That
more than 9,000 people in the world.
9,000 people. That has changed, has such an impact on the world that you cannot even quantify it. But even if those 9,000 people go and use the same messages and help one or two others, look at the impact that it has in the world.
They do, Cheers that. We're transforming people holistically in all aspects of their lives. People are not only losing weight, reversing their medical conditions, and transforming their entire journey in bettering themselves. They're starting businesses. They're finishing their degrees or studies. They're getting married, buying the houses they want. How is this possible? What are we doing? We do a lot of mental coaching with self-talk, affirmations, and a lot of people dealing with trauma, anxiety, depression, they do affirmations. Every single day they do self-talk. I hate my job. I should be driving a motorcycle. You know, I should have said that to him yesterday. I was going to say that I don't like how he comes in the office and he looks at me. They do affirmations every day. You know, what a problem, huh? You know, can I talk to you 5 minutes? You know, you are attracting that kind of energy without even knowing to your daily development and productivity every single day. With self-talk and affirmations, which a lot of people don't know about, even social media, scrolling through that mindless content that is not productive or conducive to positive thinking in any way, you are developing the rest of your day by planting these seeds, which is going to develop into more and more seeds of the similar nature. If every day you woke up and said, I'm successful, I'm rich, I'm a millionaire, I'm blessed, I'm anointed, I'm beautiful, I make good financial decisions, I love my car, I love my house, whatever it is, I love the roof over my head, I love my family, I've got a great life, and we focus that, you're going to manipulate your mind into constantly producing these kinds of thoughts.
Absolutely.
This is what we do with our clients. And we tell them first, write down 25 reasons why you want to lose weight. Not just any generic reason, write down 25 personal, powerful reasons why you want to lose weight, why you want to better yourself, who hurt you, who insulted you, who made you feel low. Write it down, write that insult down and read it yourself every day. And you are going to use this to fuel you, because your best revenge is your success. Who are you doing it for? To outwork your competition. Who is your competition? The old version of you.
Yes, beautiful. I love that. Jerome, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We've had an amazing discussion. I think the journey that you're putting a lot of people on is important. And I would encourage, and I think at some point you and I will sit and we'll find other ways of working, because I think there's a lot of work that needs to happen with our youth.
I agree with that.
And there's a responsibility. We can give back as much money as we want and food and all of that nonsense, but there's time, there's lessons, there's value in what you've done.
There's information
that has to go through, it has to become part of people's lives, and it must change the trajectory that they would otherwise be on for 10, 15, 20 years. Rather fix it at the source. Fix it where the fathers are creating that sort of anxiety in their sons and their daughters. Fix it where the mothers are basically mollycoddling their children and not allowing them to become themselves. And this, you know, this thing that Indian people do, no, don't do that, stop that, it's dangerous, you're gonna get hurt, you know. We don't allow our children to be children, to figure out.
To climb trees, fall down, get hurt.
And also to learn that when you fall down, something that I love about your story, when you fall down, it's not the end of the world.
It's going to strengthen you.
Fall down and wake up. Fall again
and it's going to build
wake
your
up.
character. These scars are going to build your character. It's going to mold you for strength and for the journey of accepting battles. If you were mollycoddled your whole life, you're going to go out there and you're just going to get absolutely annihilated.
And it's okay. Get annihilated and come
That's
back.
going to what build you. People want to protect their children from ever getting into any type of trouble or scratch. People are going to bully your children at school. People, you're going to fall down, you're going to get injured, you're going to hurt, you're going to lose your job, you're going to get your heart broken.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, we've got this thing, especially our people. If you fail, everyone wants to turn on you and talk about your failure.
Hey,
and
let me
laugh
tell
at
you something about failure. I know we're going there. You know, my father is an engineer, and you know, so for him, maths and science. And the school in grade 11 said, hey, we had advised your son to do standard grade maths and science. All I knew is I was ready for the after day, the after school party, you know, the term party that we have. And I found out I was repeating grade 11. My father said, nobody in my family is going to do standard grade maths and science. And that word failure, you know, when the report came, I was scared to fail. I still have dreams today that I'm failing matric. That failure thing has been a traumatic journey for me.
Yeah.
But it's okay to fail, because that's when you grow and you find out who you are.
And I think it's important, fail, but don't fail and stop.
Yes,
because that's the real failure.
You can't. Even with a diet, I tell them, listen, I'm not telling you that you have to be with Soul Fitness forever, but you know, if you fall off, you had a bad week, so what? Will you stop paying your medical aid if you got sick or you got depressed? No, you have to carry on this journey forever. You're insulin resistant. That means you have to take your medication. Your medication is your healthy living and your food. And unfortunately, it's forever. You have to pay your life policy forever.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an important place to leave it at. Don't stop. Fail, but fail forward. Make sure that you can learn from it. And also learn from other people so that you don't have to go through the hardships that many have already gone through. And in order to be a better version of yourself every day. Jerome, thank you, man. It's been a
Lovely
pleasure.
meeting you.
Absolute pleasure. You as well.